Hey y'all, it's your ranch riding realtor. We're out here and she is with Boxed Arrows Farms. And she's gonna give us a little bit about what it takes to keep bees and keep your property in agricultural exemption with bees.
Thank you. So honeybees for me actually started out as needing them for an agriculture exemption for our 10-acre property here in Grayson County. And I switched from raising meat goats to bees with the intention that that's what we needed to do. Little did I know that I would fall in love with beekeeping and take it from the need of an agricultural aspect for our property to a absolute passion, teaching people how to not only keep their own bees, but setting up leases for agriculture exemptions on other properties.
It's really cool that you actually go out and help other people as well, like from what you started learning just for yourself, and then you're telling me you're going all the way to Quinlan to help other people in different counties
Absolutely.
with bees as well.
Absolutely. So when it comes to honeybees and agricultural exemption, you don't just have to hire a beekeeper and do leasing. Just like any other livestock aspect, like cattle, sheep, and goats, they are a livestock and they can be managed by the property owner. So I look at it as an aspect for the property owner to choose whether they want to learn how to keep that husbandry or to hire someone like me to come in and do it. And it really is an aspect of livestock. So they require just as much care as horses, sheep, goats, cattle. They're just a little smaller and have to be set up a little different. And what I have found with honeybees and the amount of properties that I have set up for people is it really does give a freedom to have a beautiful aesthetic property, not have to be contained by fences or have your grass eaten down by cattle. They still need care year round, but you have so much more opportunity on the small scale of these, 5 to 20 acres to use bees and not have to have this vast amount of land to keep large animals.
That's really awesome how that, it completely differs from cattle itself. Like your husbandry with cattle, like we do cattle and horses. And so like your pastures are like your checkbook basically. And so with bees, what is the checkbook for bees? What is it that they need to sustain themselves?
So what we do is we do make an effort to plant forage crops for them, like clover and things that actually a lot of other wildlife need. To have a forage where they can come in and collect nectar, which makes our honey, for the longest time that we can in Texas. And typically that's from about April 1st till about the end of July. And with that said, you mentioned horses. There are actually a lot of properties, when you have a horse, unless it's a business, you do not get an exemption.
Right.
But when you have that 5 to 20 acre mark, you can keep bees and then have your hobby horses and still get your property exemptions for your bees.
And it doesn't mess with the horses at all? Or do you see the horses getting in there sometimes and being a little bit of a nuisance?
So that's actually really a good question. So what we typically do in that situation is we do panel around the bees, so they at least can't be pushed around. But in this particular situation with these 3 colonies I have here, I actually have cattle in this pasture right now.
Really?
And they really coexist very well. We don't have issues with bees, chasing down the animals and becoming aggressive. We make sure that it's set up appropriately, that the bees are secure, and that the cattle aren't overstocked in the same pasture, and they all get along very well.
That's absolutely really cool. I guess it, because they're pollinators, it really actually helps with your native grasses and whatnot.
It does. And so what we do try to focus on is, we try to keep as much native grass as possible, reintroduce as many foraging plants as we can. So we do mow our grass once a year as far as the forage pastures go, and then we come in and replant in the fall. And we look into things like the different clovers, Austrian peas, buckwheat, many of the different crops that do produce a nectar-bearing flower is excellent for the bees.
Really? That's awesome. So when it comes to different counties, do you see a difference in your honey from one station to the next?
Absolutely. We actually see a difference within 5 miles of where the bees are located.
Really?
With difference in flavor and color. And each county in itself, when we actually look at the exemption side of it, offer different benefits and requirements. Like the bees I have in Hunt County, it's a lower stocking rate than what it is here in Grayson County. And then the land value that is given to the exemption side of it does vary from county to county in Texas.
So here in Grayson County, what does that stock rate look like?
So our stocking rate starts with 6 colonies per 5 acres. and that's the base. And then from there, it's 1 colony per 2.5 acres up to 20. So the highest stocking rate we do is 12 on a 20-acre parcel.
Wow.
Now, that doesn't matter if it's a wooded parcel, open parcel, whether there's a home on that parcel, or if it is open vacant land.
Wow. Amazing.
It is amazing. It's a really good opportunity, like I said, for folks who have small acreage, who are wanting to give back to the environment and have that sustainability, but yet looking for that little bit of an incentive on the property. And once that property has gone through its grace period of 5 years, if it does not have an exemption, it then qualifies for the exemption with bees. And then once you have it, we maintain a reporting year of every 3 years to the county. And then from that standpoint, we keep documentation records and turn in as we need to. So once that property is back in ag exemption, it is a very much so an asset, whether it comes to selling the property or if you're going to pass the property off to family. Keeping that status is a valuable piece of the pie when it comes to the land value.
Yeah, absolutely. As a real estate agent, that is like number one thing when people call and ask about a property is it ag exempt? And a lot of them don't even know what agricultural exemption is. It's just they know it's a tax break.
Right.
And so us being out here explaining the differences in them and what it takes to actually keep that in ag exemption, I really think it's going to be really beneficial, especially everybody moving out here.
So not only looking at the property exemption for the honeybees themselves, like cattle offer us an opportunity to take cattle to slaughter and to have the meat. Honeybees in themselves have a variety of products that they actually produce. We can harvest propolis, which is a very good wax-like substance. It's very good for us to eat. Beeswax in itself. Also straight pollen, which is amazing to have for your seasonal allergies, and then honey on top of that. So local honey, and when we talk about the boutique style local honey, is the highest sought after because we know it hasn't been mixed with anything else. We know it does not come from a commercial entity, which there's nothing wrong with commercial beekeepers, but we are talking the boutique style of beekeeping, and that is what people really truly are looking for, is that niche market to have that backyard beekeeper share some of that honey.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So where do you stock your honey at so we all can find that?
Right. So currently we do a couple farmers markets when I can. Otherwise you can order your honey right from me off of social media, which is either Instagram or Facebook. And I prep an order and I set it on my front porch for pickup. So
that's amazing.
Doing a storefront for me right now really isn't a feasible thing because I am on the road so much doing bees. But maybe at some point I'll think about it. But truly, we only take about a third of the honey off of these colonies. We leave a lot for them to winter on because they do need the food.
Yeah.
So that little bit that we take is the sellable product. Now, my property clients who do leases through me actually get a portion, an eighth back of that honey for their property exemptions. So they get a honey that is from those bees that are on their property.
That's really great. That's awesome.
Now, if you own your bees, then all of that honey crop is yours.
Right. Yeah. So speaking of owning your bees, so what does that look like? Say if I had a client that bought a 10-acre parcel and was like, hey, can you help me with transferring it from a grazing to a honeybee farm, and we called you up and said, hey, why don't you come out and visit with us?
So that timeline is actually bigger than what most people think. So we start prepping and ordering, and people place orders for honeybees usually in January.
Wow.
And so then those bees we prep to get ready to be distributed in late March through May 1st is kind of our golden ticket time, because then that is when the true honey flow of North Texas starts, or is what it's supposed to start. So we want those bees in place, being able to produce for those folks as in that time period. So we order in January, February, we prep, they go to their new location early spring, and then they are there for life. Now, Grayson County and a lot of other Texas counties do require that your bees be on your property for at least 7 months out of the year. There are some beekeepers who do leasing, and they are in the commercial side of it, which is awesome. And they will take those bees out to pollination and then bring them back. So most Texas counties are a 7-month statute.
Okay, 7 months. So they have to be on your property for 7 months throughout the whole year, guys. And is that just like the length of 7 months or in totality?
In totality, they need to be there for 7 months. Now, ideally, that 3-month period, if they are being pulled out for pollination times are typically pretty short. So the almond fields is only about 14 to 20 days, 21 days at tops. So then they're coming back. But most properties, we do encourage that if you're going to own your bees, that you just go ahead and set them and let them thrive there and don't put them into pollination.
Yeah, yeah. So that, you say almond fields, I'm imagining California.
It is the California almond fields, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Well, there you have it. Some people are shipping off.
And they do, and
California,
it is a fantastic opportunity once you get, a large number of bees that you want to put into a pollination string. I have actually purchased some that are pollination bees only. Okay. So those bees do get moved around between North Texas and northern Oklahoma. So I am doing watermelon and cotton.
Okay.
Those bees never land on someone's property or my own. They are in a pollination string. So we do try to manage our disease and pests that we're not bringing in something that's going to decimate an entire bunch of bees.
Yeah, yeah. So the pollination bees, I'm understanding, is they're just out there to help with the crops.
Absolutely.
So
that is when we are looking at the food source of United States of America, bees are our number one pollinator, and that is where your almonds are coming from, your blueberries, your blackberry fields. I mean, they are using them all over the U.S. and they move them around on semis, and bees, they are the reason we have food.
Yeah, yeah. So bees are very, very essential to our whole food chain.
They are.
In the United States.
They absolutely are.
They're the little beekeepers and bee workers that keep us all sustained. Mm-hmm. So don't kill them, guys. We kind of need them. So if we had somebody that wanted to go into beekeeping, what would be the first 3 steps that you would tell one of my clients of, hey, from a leasing standpoint, let's take it to a bee owner standpoint and go, okay, you want to own your colony, this is how you need to set this up.
Perfect. So the first thing we do is we look at an aerial view of this property and we go, where are your bees going to live and where are you going to live? We want to set the bees up for success, and we want to set you up for success. Honeybees are still bees. They still want to protect their colony and their family. They have stingers and they do sting. That is a reality.
Yeah.
So we look at a property and we, find a spot that's going to be the least amount of traffic, the least amount of congestion, and then we start looking for water sources. What's the closest within a quarter mile of natural water sources? Now, I will say that, if someone's got a swimming pool that's close by and it's moving chlorinated water, that's probably where they're going to go. But bees will haul up to about a quart of water a day in heat like this. So that is a reality. So we look at those logistics and then we go, okay, here's the great spot for your honeybees. So here's the process, and then we start coming in and we make sure, okay, what are they going to eat now that we know where they're going to live? Mm-hmm. So we start that planting process, and then we make sure that we set up a stand. So you can see mine are on treated 4x4x8 with concrete blocks. That's a very stable stand. Yep. They're up off the ground, which means they're not going to get a whole bunch of water in them. So we get that set up. So when your bees are ready to come home, we're not trying to set that up in the midst of, transporting bees. And so once all that is ready and it's the day for your bees to come home, we either assist with delivery or pickups, and then your bees land on their permanent home and
they're good to go.
They take care of the rest of the work. So then we're looking at a maintenance thing. Bees do need to be opened about 18 to 20 times a year to make sure that they have adequate space, that they are pest and parasite free, honey harvesting aspects. So we put together kind of that management program. It is more in the spring versus kind of the late heat of the summer. And then we prep them for fall, winter, where they're going to stay closed quite a bit, and we're just monitoring food.
Okay, cool. So is there any classes that they need to take, any certifications that they need to have?
So there is a lot of opportunities to take a lot of hands-on education through the state of Texas. Texas Beekeepers Association is fantastic. Grayson County has another great beekeeping club. There are a ton of people out there doing honeybees, and from what I have learned from start to right now is that no way is the one way that is the right way.
Yeah.
Everybody handles a different way, and what I can say is you will take some techniques and skills and kind of develop that feel for it. Handling honeybees is a total self-control first, and because you are opening a box of about 80,000 stingers, and it is all, they respond to how your vibe is, and it is, once you kind of get that feel, it's amazing. But I always suggest that if folks are wanting to own theirs and be hands-on, to come and do a hands-on class first, so they know what to expect before they bring bees home.
Yeah.
And they kind of have an idea going, okay, this was the process, this is how I was kind of taught to do it, and then they have a baseline to build their skills on.
That makes sense. Yeah, absolutely. Because I mean, there's a million different ways to train a horse too.
Absolutely.
And you just kind of pick and choose and decide what works best for you.
Absolutely.
Sounds about the same then.
It is, yes.
Awesome. Well, I really, really appreciate everything that you've given us. And hopefully we can like kind of throw things back and forth here and there, and we'll just kind of keep in touch.
Absolutely.
Keep everybody informed.
Very good.
Awesome.
Well, thank you so much.
You.
You bet.